Hello, welcome to Audrey's Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making shepherd's pie. Now this is my version because the original version calls for minced lamb. So I'm doing my version, which I guess is kind of the American version where we just use regular beef chop meat. So I have about 1.5 pounds of chop meat. When I buy it from the supermarket, I like to put it in Ziploc bags and freeze it really flat. This way when I take it out, you can break it up, it defrosts very quickly. So you can get started cooking sooner. Because if you leave it in a big brick, it just, for me, it takes forever to defrost. So we have the meat. I already made a batch of mashed potatoes, which is pretty simple to make. You can use instant mash or you can use regular potatoes. So we're going to have a small pot of mashed potatoes on the side. You also need some mixed vegetables. I like to also add broccoli to mine. I like to add more vegetables in mine. Some little bit of Parmesan cheese for the mashed potatoes, some garlic, onion, Worcestershire sauce, some beef broth, and optional cheddar cheese, which I like to add. You don't need to. So let's just get started. So what I want to do is chop up a large onion. That's all, just a small chop. This is going to be cooked with the meat. Okay. Now, because the count is all wet from the onions, I like to place a napkin down to just cut up my garlic. Okay, so you clean up this with snap. Just dry it off. And then we're just going to rough chop the garlic. I also chopped up 4 extra ones because I like a lot of garlic in ours. Okay. Alright, so we're going to get started on cooking the meat. Alright, so I threw the chopped meat in, and we're just browning it. I drained off the fat. I just poured it into a measuring cup. So we're just going to chop it all up, break it all up nicely. Just like if you were making taco meat, just break it up. To that, we're going to be adding the onion that we chopped. Okay. And the garlic. We're going to mix all that in. Oops. Now normally I would brown all my meat in a pot, but for the video I'm doing it in a frying pan just so you can see. Alright, so to that, I'm going to be adding about 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. I have low sodium. Okay. Around. Once the onions get a little soft, we're going to add a couple tablespoons of flour and then the beef broth. So I do recommend you doing all this in a pot because it is falling out a little bit on me. Okay, so we're going to add about a cup of beef broth. Any beef broth will be fine. I have store brand. Give that a little mix. And to that we're just going to sprinkle 2 tablespoons. A little heaping tablespoons like this of flour. Okay, let's stir all that in. Flour is going to help thicken it. Okay, so now I like to add the mixed vegetables. This is where we're going to get a little tight, pan's not big enough. So I'm just going to mix to incorporate everything together. If it gets too thick, you can go ahead and add some more beef broth. Sometimes I end up using the whole pan, sometimes I don't. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of onion powder. You can do garlic powder also. And then tiny pinch of thyme. Okay, so this is done. We're going to get ready to assemble the shepherd's pie. I'm going to turn the oven to 375 and we'll get that going and we'll come back when I'm ready to assemble it. Okay, so the oven is heating up. Now I have my casserole pan. I have it on a sheet pan, so in case if it oozes out, it'll drip onto the pan. So I'm just gonna put a little olive oil at the bottom of the pan. And take our meat filling and just carefully put it in the pan. Okay, spread it out. Okay. At this point, I like to spread out some broccoli on top. This is frozen broccoli, but it's defrosted. It'll cook nicely in this. Alright, so spread that out as best you can. Push it down a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to be taking some cheddar cheese. Putting that onto the broccoli. A few cups, however much you'd like. This is optional, the cheese. You don't have to add it. And the broccoli is optional. You don't have to add the broccoli. I just like to add a lot of vegetables to my food. Okay, now I have the mashed potatoes that I made earlier, so I'm going to scoop them on top of here. We're just going to try to spread this out, covering the whole top. to the corners. Just want to smooth it out. Try to get the potatoes nice and even. Okay, so now we're just going to take a fork and we're going to drag it along the top. It's a little shepherd's pie design. And all these get nice and gold and brown on top. I'm going to go the other way a few times. Oops. So now I'm going to melt a little butter that we're going to be pouring on top. Okay, so right before we put it into the oven, I like to hit the top with a little salt. I gotta salt on mashed potatoes. And now I have about 2 tablespoons of butter that I melted in the microwave. We're going to just drizzle this on top. I also have some chopped dehydrated chives. That's optional. You can use parsley. I like to sprinkle this on top. Who doesn't like chives with their potatoes? Okay. Now I just want to clean the edges off. Now this is to the top, so it's my oven, it's all ready. Now it's gonna ooze out, just expect it to, because this is loaded. So we'll put it in the oven for about 45 minutes until it's really nice and golden brown on top, and I'll show you how it comes out. Okay, I also forgot right before you put it in, I like to add some Parmesan cheese to the top. Okay, so now we're going to throw that in the oven for 45 minutes. And here we are, 45 minutes, nice and golden brown, bubbling on the bottom. I hope you try this recipe for shepherd's pie. It really is great, especially in the winter. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.